Taken rocks you call a home. You are alone in this. You always were.
Minute of Islands. Available on March 18th.
You're staying right here, on these forsaken rocks you call a home. You are alone in this. You always were.
Minute of Islands. Available on March 18th.
Hello everybody, we're back again as promised yesterday. We're here again to meet you and look at autumn things. My name is Rebecca. I work for Mixed Vision, the publisher of Minute of Islands, the lovely game we're going to talk about today. And with me again is Anjin.
Hi.
Yeah. Would you like to tell us a bit about what you do? I know you already said everything yesterday because you're the game director of Minute of Islands, yes?
Okay, so don't worry, we're not just repeating what we did yesterday, but let's get through the formalities. Yeah, I'm with Studio Fizbin, and I had the honor of being game director for Minute of Islands and leading the team of like really cool and really creative people towards making this very special game.
So what is Minute of Islands about? Quick summary in case anybody has not yet played the demo that is currently out on Steam right now, limited time during the Steam Festival.
Minute of Islands is an adventure game. It's a puzzle platformer, and it's a twisted take on the classical Chosen One hero's journey, and we hope that when you follow Mo, our hero, through her story and her adventure, that you will make a lot of really interesting and beautiful, but also challenging discoveries. Yes.
Okay, but maybe some keen-eyed viewers have already noticed that this image we're showing right now, down here, is not looking like Minute of Islands, really. Well, kind of, but not quite the same. What's happening here? What do we have for our lovely viewers today, Anjin?
Yeah. To shake things up and to not just talk about the demo again, which you can of course check out for yourself, and a lot of people have done. Thanks again for all the streamers, and I'm really glad you enjoy this. Let's look a bit into the past and let's talk shop a little. So I prepared a couple of, actually plenty of concept artworks and um, numbered them, and hopefully we can talk about a lot of fun things and tiny details of the production. We can talk about the development of the character. We will talk about um, other characters in the game. We will talk about how the game came to be and what our creative process is, and also how the islands are made. The very islands you can, which part of you can visit in the demo. Yes,
The titular
and I would.
islands.
Yes. So I try to avoid a lot of spoilers, and it also contains a lot of like really old concept art, a lot of stuff that has not found its way in that form into the game, but I thought it was still like interesting to share this stuff. Just a quick plug: if you enjoy what you're seeing and are curious about more behind the scenes and more artwork, keep an eye out for the deluxe bundle, I guess. Um,
Yes.
and the independently purchasable digital art book you guys at Mixed Vision are publishing, right?
Yeah, you can get it on Steam and GOG as a downloadable content, and you will get the digital art book. There's a lot of stuff in there. We're just showing a sneak peek. So yeah, if you like what you see, as Anjin said, you know what to do.
And also, I would like to encourage everybody to shoot us a lot of questions via the chat.
Yes, please. We are here to answer questions and not just monologue about the amazing history of Minute of Islands.
Yeah.
Before we jump into talking about the game, how long did you develop Minute of Islands?
Um, at least 2 years. Studio Fizbin is a studio that is always working on multiple projects, including contract work and children's games and things like that. So it's sometimes pretty hard to pinpoint where something actually starts and ends, but I would like to say it's roughly 2 years.
So there's a lot of history to go through.
Yeah, and it was quite fun um, to browse through the images and show them around. Can you do me a favor? I'm not sure if I have this. Are we broadcasting on YouTube as well?
Yes, oh, I'll send you the link. But I also have an eye on the chat, so any questions I will also let Anjan know. There
Okay,
we go.
because I would also sometimes I would like to peek at the chat from time to time on YouTube as well. And as far as I can see, on our Twitter there was only um, the Steam link posted. So please hold on. I will add this one
We already
to.
have a question in the chat on YouTube from Skamit, and they are asking
Hi,
console
Skamit.
players won't have an option to get an art book. Yes, unfortunately, because DLC works differently on consoles, and the digital art book will be a PDF file, so you can only get it on Steam or GOG. Unfortunately, we're very sad about it as well. But you can buy it without buying the game. So
Yes.
if you want to play on console, you can get Minute of Islands on console and still get the art book on your computer.
Yeah. It's unfortunately just not a bundle, I think. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You would have to buy the game on console and then the art book separately. Um, yeah. But it's absolutely
Cool.
possible. Also, the soundtrack as well on PC, and you can get the game, the soundtrack, and the art book in one bundle. But really, you can also buy them in 3 separate purchases. So
Cool.
completely customizable.
So I guess we want to dive in, right?
Yes.
So did I picked this image as an opener to kind of like talk about the creative process. And as you can see, there's Mo, our hero, is blonde and has a red coat in that image, which is an old design. We will see some process on this. And during our stream today, there's this red coated Mo will appear quite a lot, because the way we approach this is we have like a group of really creative and involved people, and it's not, the creative process is not top down. So it's not somebody like writes a concept and then everybody has to follow it. We have um, a very democratic and flat process, so everybody can get involved. So what we did in the very early stages of the game, there was a lot of just brainstorming, artists doing illustrations, game designers pitching in game ideas, and there was like a rough idea for the story and a rough idea for specific beats and especially motifs and themes, but the stuff was not set in stone. We kind of like go with the flow here, and if an artist or a game designer pitches something interesting to us, we will find a way to get it into the game. So a lot of the stuff we're looking at is not in the game in a one-to-one fashion, but bits and pieces of it have been reincorporated into later designs. So this is an very early sketch, like all the red coat Moi illustrations we will see today. This is an early sketch of how a screen could look, and also how other NPCs could look, and what the general atmosphere is. And what was like really sticking with us from a very early moment was the line and color work that is quite similar to what the game is now, right?
Yeah.
This is done by Tim Giedke, our art director, who is a published comic book artist, and draws a lot of inspiration from French comic books and animation, of course. And we just really felt like, okay, that's almost like a benchmark illustration here. So this is definitely what we want to go with.
You can also see like the masks the NPCs are wearing. They kind of remind me of these medieval,
Pest Doctor,
yeah,
yes,
masks, but plague doctor masks. But
yeah, Plague Doctor,
you
right?
can kind
Yeah.
of like the jump to a gas mask, a modern one, isn't too big. So you can already see a lot of influence in this picture. Shall we jump to the next?
Yeah, yeah,
Quite a
Cook. This is
big jump into the future.
yeah. This is the comparison. Like this is the Mo we know and a lot of people get to know from these days. And you can see like we changed the hair color and the coat color. But the general stoic attitude and shape language was something that stuck with us from very early concepts, which we will see in the next slide. Yeah,
Lots of
these are
colors.
yeah, these are variations. What you can like also instantly notice is the color palette is very has a lot of like earth tones are mixed in everything, which is something that makes the colors kind of like grounded, and also is very close to the colors printed on paper in Franco-Belgian comic books. They aren't shiny, they aren't flashy. There's not much CGI effects on those comic books, and this is something we went for very early on.
Julia said that the Plague Doctor masks were foreshadowing to the last year. Considering that you started working on this over 2 years ago, yes, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's like an overall thing, right? So actually wearing a mask is an issue in the game, um, and also places which are usually bustling with people now being abandoned, and yeah, it's quite eerie for us as well. How topical is overselling it, but how the pandemic kind of like changes how we feel and look at media and certain stories, because there's now the different emotions to relate to this. But we definitely did not plan for this. These things just happen.
Yeah, if your games are kind of like telling the future, I hope that your next game will be with unicorns and cake and glitter. Very
Yeah,
nice, and not like
maybe that
vanilla pilots,
works.
maybe.
Maybe that's how that works. Maybe we are the new Simpsons who predict
Oh yeah.
everything.
I really like that you tried a lot of different hairstyles for Mo as well. You can see that you kind of favored like the spiky, messed up hairstyle, but you also tried different ones in different length.
Yes.
Okay, shall we go to the next slide?
Yeah.
More Mo!
Yeah, Momo. This is a production asset. This is a key pose reference sheet. So the many of the especially character animations weren't done in by artists who are in Studio Fizbin. They're done by freelance animation artists and other artists animation studios. So this sheet is done by our art director, so the animators know what the respective keyframes need to look like. So how the cloth needs to behave, what the expressions are, how the tiny rubber hose arms, when they need to pop out and when they need to stay in. and things like that, and how to deal with folding of cloth, how to deal with hair movements, and things like that. So this is an overall reference sheet for the artists. The black bars you see on the left side, these are size references for objects in the game. So what we will also later see when we talk about how an island is made, um, the artists are always in control about how each location looks, but of course we need like some sort of standards for jump distances and climbing distances and things like that. So these are the standards that the animators had to follow, so that when Mo grabs a ledge, for example, she's not just grabbing into empty space.
Yeah, as we can see here in the reference sheet even, there's a lot of objects that Mo can interact with, so gotta take care of that, right?
Yes.
Julia said, I want her gas mask coat. Yeah, that would be amazing, right? Especially for these days.
Yeah. I think it's also very stylish. And we played around a lot with having her go full hazmat in the game, but for story reasons, we decided against this. So this is actually one of the few not in the game bits we are going to see today.
Now we have a lot of old art again.
Yeah, this is about transitioning to the non-player characters, so the other inhabitants of the island. If you play the demo, you will notice there's a lot of island and very few inhabitants. Um, so there's a lot of buildings and workplaces and markets and other places where people obviously used to be, and a lot of people. But that's no longer the case, and we are now going to see a few character explorations, and these are rather old ones. We decided to go with a few like different looks because these may be interpreted as, especially when they are like have a flamethrower and something, they might appear to be enemy types, right?
Yeah.
Um, so what you can see on the next slide is that we went with something that is rather connecting Mo to these NPCs. So they all share the same um, oil or oil coat yellow materials, and the same kind of like charm, and the personality kind of bleeds through their hazmat suits. I especially picked this image because it's not showing any of the NPCs in the game. So all the NPCs that actually did make it into the game, except from the one in the demo, I would like to keep a secret for now.
No spoilers here. Oh, this is something that I think I recognize.
Yeah, this is like one of the ways you will see the masks and the hazmat suits that are in the game is through Scarecrows, which is a frequent use of these individual hazmat suits. Right, they are just tailor-made to each person and personally customized. And when someone is gone, what do you do with the remaining suit? And Scarecrows is one of the things, which is just one of the examples of the environmental storytelling we crammed into every inch of the game.
If any of you played the demo, you might also notice another use of these hazmat suits.
Yes.
Gotta check it out on Steam. Plugging it again here, just in case anybody has not yet played, because we are streaming, of course, during the Steam Festival, and it's only going to be this weekend until Monday, so we have a demo there, and it will be gone after the Steam Festival is over, so there's limited time to play. So check it out on our Steam page. We have, for those on YouTube, we have our links in the description as well, so you can go there. Oh,
Mm,
this is hand drawn.
yes. Um, Especially in the early days, when like one of our concept designers who's like super responsible for most of the pillar ideas and concepts that informed the story of Minute of Islands, Marius. Um, uh, Marius Winter, he has like walls filled with ball pen drawings and fine liner and marker sketches of gameplay ideas and situational ideas and things like that. We will see a lot of stuff that's like super interesting, but not in the game. We have like volumes of of amazing potential of places to go, but the game is like already like 4 to 5 hours long, and we already worked on it for 2 years. So there's a lot of things that went into draws, just basically just went into files and never made it into the game. And I don't know. We would like it would be super interesting to actually visit all those places we imagined, but that may be a story for another day.
But it's a good situation to have many amazing ideas as well, right? You can pick the very, very best ones, and the amazing ones you can also keep for later. So
Yeah, like I said, we were like picking aspects of all our designs and remixing them and mashing them together to get these richly detailed places you can explore. Um, but for us as creatives, of course, we look at all the stuff that has not um, managed to go down the production line, and there's a bittersweetness to this. But yeah, you're totally right. Um, like producing waste paper, digital waste paper, is part of the process and super necessary.
we got a question on YouTube asking about the Game Festival demo for Mac. Unfortunately, due to time restraints, it's only available for Windows right now.
Yeah, hey, Ame. Sorry, I
Yeah,
we have to go with a no.
yeah, we're very sorry about that. It's not easy to make a game, and this was sadly one of the difficulties that stopped us in this
Yeah,
case.
but of course the game is going to be on Mac, right?
Yes.
So, okay, cool. Yeah, these are what you see in the center is very close to the actual animation reference drawings that went to the animation production team. And there's also some ideas playing around with different skins for these giants. We have different skins in the game, but they are not shown here, so also no spoilers. Because for us, a big part of the story was that each giant has a personal relationship with the island they are living under. So there's a lot of motifs from islands we had in our concept sessions now transported to the giant skin. And from the way it looks, I'm not sure if any of these skins represents one of the islands that is in the game. I think these are all tests made for other island ideas we were exploring.
This one's creepy.
Yeah, this is an early sketch. Um, the giants overall, they are kind of like creepy, but um, I think you will quickly learn from playing they aren't a threat. They are actually allies. They are important, and we think it's important to not make to not use like being pretty as an indicator for good or evil or something. We think that we need to be able to build relationships with even with giant veiny skeleton people. Um, we think that's really important.
Yeah, we touched on this a little bit yesterday when playing the demo. Uh, that Minute of Islands is both very beautiful, but at the same time also very disturbing, disgusting, horrifying sometimes. Um, and and there's some kind of appeal to this, right? To
Yeah,
also to
it
ugliness.
yes, it's well, yeah, well, it triggers curiosity, and it's not clean. It's not um it's not fake. There's a certain realness to it, and there's a certain intrigue to it, and a lot of it is just nature taking its course, um, and we think it's kind of important to deal with all those feelings and not just um, focus on the shiny and the clean and the happy images. We love the tension and the complexity um, between these aspects. Skamit, no, the four brothers are not evil.
Look, in this image, he's even like probably smiling.
Well, he's probably smiling when he's sleeping as well. Yeah, and this is a screenshot of how the giants appear in the game, which is just to end the giant talk chapter.
Yeah, you can definitely see elements from your concept that we looked at, but also this one looks a bit different, and the background definitely as well.
Yes, yes. The giants are which is the which when you if you play the demo, you instantly notice that the giants are living underground and for a long time. Um, and they are kind of like part of their environment now in a certain way. And if you play the demo, you also now know what Mo is doing in that screenshot.
Skamit says that the first giant was creepy. Yeah, a bit, right? If you don't know what's happening, it's better to be a bit careful, especially when faced with a being that could easily squish you.
Yes, also in video game terms, um, there's often the tendency to literally be afraid of anything that moves in a hostile environment. So that's of course not applying here. Um, which is just for me also a way to say there's literally no damage in Minute of Islands, so we pace the game in a way. So whatever creature you encounter in Minute of Islands, it may not be it may be safe or it may not be safe, but that is more up to Mo and how she interacts with them.
No Minute of Islands, prepare to die.
No, there's no prepare to die. I loved seeing in the Let's Plays when people discover what our solution for really um, deep falling is. Like when you fall from a very high place down. We don't have fall damage, obviously, but we made a very fun tiny animation to kind of justify why Mo has no fall damage.
A very good justification, might I add, so better buy the game when it comes out.
Okay, yeah. Next, the weird alien-like, often organic technology is it's what the giants are making and what the giants made. And if you move on, we can see more things of this. For example, oh, this is a small one. Sorry. These are designs for the Omni Switch, which is the magic thingamajig that Mo is carrying around, and it's actually the only one ever made for human hands. So Mo, of course, being the bearer of the Omni Switch, feels very special that she has been gifted this tool that allows her to interface with the alien machines, with the giant machines. Alien not meaning from another planet, alien meaning strange. The strange giant machines, and which not many other people can do.
I'm trying to imagine a giant using the Omni Switch in this size because it's basically a toothpick, right? And like swinging it around.
Yeah, for giants, they probably would have used bigger handles.
Maybe.
Yeah, here we see a few design concepts of how the Omni Switch is used and what the objects might look like, where you can plug the Omni Switch in, and the multi functions of the Omni Switch, still with a very early version of the air purifiers we have in the game.
And here we see the final one, right? The final version.
Final, yes. Um, there's much more going on. It's much more optimized for like a really cool animation. What I love about the work we did on all of the giant technology, like including the womb-like caves in which these giants are living. These are mostly driven by our one of our artists called Sophie, who kind of like really went all out on the alien designs and really pushed for a certain grossness and which then inspired the audio designers to combine like really sometimes cringeworthy wet organic noises with technology elements, which is like really fun to play with and we hope it's also fun for players to discover how to operate these machines and be surprised what they do.
The animation for like the towers activating is also something that I have a strange fascination with because it's it's strange. It's a strange animation. I really like it. But it makes me feel a bit weird. But I think that's a perfect feeling, right, for these giant technologies, because it makes if it makes you feel like strange, this is probably something that the people living in Minute of Islands might also feel when encountering those for the first
Yeah,
time.
well, what you can see in the screenshot is how disruptive they are for the otherwise kind of like idyllic and romantic island overworld, right? So
Yeah,
we really aimed for this for this tension. Rather have you feel something weird than not feel anything at all, right?
yeah.
When it comes to these sort of objects. Yeah.
I really love the animation. Oh, we are back to red coated Mo again.
Yes. So we are now back in time. Um, So the this and the next few illustrations are like brainstorming illustrations where we kind of did let our artists like we let them loose. So just draw what you think would be like a cool place for us to go through. And so uh, um, uh, there's a lot of like really cool ideas sometimes hidden und and we are like really proud to have like these tiny tidbits and then finding places on these islands to put them. So just have a look at the next two images as well.
Oh, here you can definitely recognize some influence if you've played the demo. S- some elements. And
Yeah.
here even more.
Yeah, we really explored the architecture. Something we needed to do. The idea of an island usually is very horizontal, right? There's just this weird landmass peeking out of the ocean, and then it's basically just one giant hill with stuff on top. And what we really were exploring, and images like this kind of like stuck with us. So we were really aiming for a lot of verticality. If you play the demo, you will notice like there's a lot of ways up and down, and a lot of layers of locations stacked on top of each other, instead of it just being like this curve with things on top. And these kind of concepts we have here are really what informed our way of level designing and platforming and stacking locations on top of each other.
Oh, a small one again. Let me zoom you in a bit.
Yeah, well, this is actually also a really small drawing. As you can see, there's not much detail, but this is like one of these sketches where there's like a core idea. And if you go to the next screenshot, which is also like part of the press kit, you
Yes.
can see how this turned out in the game.
I
So
barely notice a difference.
so this is like how these like post-it sized illustrations can like spark whole locations or specific striking moments in the game, and that's why I brought this in. It can really just start with a napkin drawing and evolve into something that has all of the elements a Minute of Islands moment makes.
Frisky in the YouTube chat said that they look like, in the tiny drawing, they look like mutated Diglets, the Pokemon. But yeah, in the final image, you can definitely see that they're fish. They remind me of, I don't know the English name for them. It might be sandworms even, but there's some kind of like worms that bury beneath the sand on the beach.
Yeah,
And
I also don't know the English name. You mean Wattwürmer, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes,
They
okay.
bury in like the wet sand on the beach. And my first encounter with one, of course, was standing on the beach with my toes in the water and then suddenly feeling something sucking
Ugh.
on my foot from below, and then like pulling it up, and then like the worm just like came out of the sand, which was really like I was a kid and I still remember. So yeah,
Yeah, it's these worms appear at low tide, right? So
yeah.
um and they come out of the earth. Yeah, sometimes due to our creative process, a lot of the images we have in the game sometimes uh they aren't very they aren't kind of like really planned. Sometimes somebody comes up with something that kind of like sticks with us. It's just something that feels like it's forcing its way into the game all by itself. And for example, I as a director sometimes, or most of the time, my job is to find a form for this image and also a place for this image and also something leading up to that image, and then following on top so that it's all part of the story sequence, and it's helping the journey, and it's moving the story along, and it's not just some random thing slapped in onto a screen. So that's one of the big things I had to do as a director, because there was so much um, like cool stuff, and if it had this stickiness, if it's something that we came back to and that was not letting go, we would find a way to make um, to give it a meaningful appearance in the game. That's for a lot of things, that's the process.
Chat didn't. I think the chat didn't like my story about the Wattwurm. Um, they were slightly creeped out by those, I think. So you're welcome. You will now look at this scene in the game in a whole different light. I still enjoy the screenshot a lot, though, and Katrin in the chat also said that they like the screenshot so much. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's
Um,
really
okay,
beautiful.
so I was so annoyed that I didn't know the English word, so I googled it. It's a lugworm.
Lug, lugworm.
Lugworm. It's not sounding any more pleasant
Yeah.
than before, right? Okay, cool. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's leave those worms behind.
Okay, so where are we now? Yeah, this is also like one of these inspirational image. You can see some stuff just thrown into a cave, but the way this is illustrated here, it has a much more classic adventure game sort of feel to it, right? Because it feels like you discovered a treasure chest. So, oh, there's a cave and it's nature. And if you now go to the next slides, you can see where this inspiration led during the process. It led to these underground locations where we, instead of having a cave-like like the cave-like rocks, nature-based environment, we used the giant technology that is kind of like um, creating these underground caves for the same sort of location. But the spirit of the last image basically has this new form right here.
I like the little detail with the fishing rod in the in the middle of the screen and fishing inside of a fishbowl. That's really cute.
Yeah, and this is a screenshot from the demo, and this is how a location like this now looks in full color and with lighting effects and our yellow mo in it. Yeah.
And it still has that kind of I think I said yesterday that Minute of Islands reminds me of hidden object images because there's so much to discover. Like when you look in the background, there's so many small details that you can look at and discover, and that I think really also shows in these three images that little details hidden in the background were always very important.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what happens when you let the artists like completely control how a screen is filled. So of course there's game designers involved here, but what you will see later is that the game designers are kind of like involved in the the invisible technology behind those illustrations. So they are responsible for making things move and programming sequences and making the environment solid in a certain way so that the player character can stand on stuff and jump from one thing to the other and climb up and down on things. This is and also a lot of the like overall island layouts are made by game designers. But when you look at like a specific screen like this, all the objects have been placed there by an artist. And it's a completely different process to how platformers, like many other platformers, are usually made, which is you have a catalog of objects you think you need, and then the artists have to produce these objects individually, and then they have to be brought together by the level artists or level designers in the game engine. We're using Unity, in Unity, and then kind of like using lights and stuff like this to make this look as whole and cohesive as possible. It works, but it forces the designers and the artists to kind of like think in modular objects. And the way we do this here is we're just letting the game designers fill up all the spaces. So each and every object you see in this frame, for example, has been custom made for this very location. And this allows things to stack on top of each other and to age in a similar way, and um, allows artists to like cram in a lot of environmental storytelling that a regular asset pipeline, where you have the idea for an asset and then you need to produce the asset and then you need to place the asset in the level, the artists can just skip over all of these steps, and when they have an idea, it's in the game. So it's super expensive to do because you have to like draw everything, but this has especially like this has very much this comic book and animation production sort of feel we are very proud of. Of course, some assets are reused. For example, the air purifiers with their specific animations and specific interactions and things like that. Yeah, there are plenty of them in the game, and we just reuse the one purifier we made. But then the level, like the place where the purifier is located, is custom drawn around that purifier to like really embed it and to make it feel like it was standing there for hundreds of years and has not just been placed there by a level designer um, a year ago or something.
Yeah, because it needs to be there for the game. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, in the YouTube chat, Scarmeet asked, "Will our progress from the demo be lost when the game comes out? Do we need to start from the very beginning, or can we continue what we went through in the demo?"
I'm actually not sure. That's a very technical question. I'm actually not sure. We talked about if we want to ensure that you can keep your progress. We decided against it just to avoid any sort of like technical potential bugs and things like that. The demo was made on a very short notice, and it's always very risky to have this public playable game snippets. So we decided to not make sure that this is happening. You can try. I'm not saying it's not happening, but we did not work towards that.
Oh, this is a blast from the past. This next image.
Wait, let me check. Yeah, so the next three images are showing like what I said with the bits and pieces that are moving like from one illustration to the next and then somehow find their way someplace in the game. What you can see here is just can you go back please
Oh,
to
yes, sorry.
the first whale image. You can see like this illustration of a whale. And it's getting eaten by our axolotl type creature, which is I won't spoil while it's there. It's a big part of the story to discover what your relationship with that creature is. Um, and again, this image of the whale kind of like stuck with us. There was no purpose to this illustration other than idea exploration, right? So there was no game structure yet where we would like draw into or find specific solutions for. It was just something we made during like a brainstorming and idea finding process, and this whale really stuck with us. So it appears a few more times. You can now go to the other images.
This one. And here we have the
Yeah,
whale again, as you said.
yeah. This is also just another situational concept with a few things in it, and again, some artists picking up this whale motif again.
And the next one?
Hmm Yeah, and this is how that motif now is in the game as a part of the overall storytelling. We believe that it's like the demo shows like the beginning of the game, right? So we believe having an image like that very, very early in the game, something which is like gross, but in a certain sense, it's not violent. It's just an animal dying, right? And being eaten. Um, and also the grossest part of the image is not in the frame, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you when you play the game and you go further to the left, there's more. But we believe that like having this strong image very early in the game is is kind of like showing what the game is capable of when it comes to tone. So that's why the whale found its way onto like the very first island we we explore.
Speaking of islands.
Yeah. Okay. So we are now going to basically like the last chapter of this behind the scenes peek, which is how the islands have been like designed and made. I mean, the game is called Minute of Islands, and the islands are a central structural element to the game and to the story development. And chapters are based on islands, and Mo's journey is based on her travel traveling between the islands. So yeah, islands, it's a thing in Minute of Islands. Um, and we came up with so many themes and gameplay uh, gameplay elements for specific islands, and really went into exploring those. So what we have in our file drawers are plenty of these like super zoomed out, very rough island layouts, which when you look here, you can see that each island has several kind of like zones or locations. So we believe that when you travel over an island, you should like discover places. And so this was one of the big things for us, to let you discover like cool places and locations which all mesh with the theme of the island, and also with when in the story the island appears. So the islands weren't that freely brainstormed. They usually had to serve a purpose in the story.
And people who have a keen eye and know a little bit of German can also discover a small little quote in here in this image. Uh,
Yeah, I can't read it actually in that size. Is it better we don't read it?
yeah, let's just leave this here as an Easter egg. If the stream
Okay,
quality is good enough, if the
okay,
internet gods are generous, then you can maybe discover a little quote an artist left there.
okay. Yeah, this is also one of the. Okay, I'm repeating myself. This is another island layout. Um, and what's interesting is that we also like explored different kind of human cultures shaping this island. This has, when you look at it, it's very made of rocks and has almost like an ancient Greece or ancient Rome Colosseum um, type of feel to it. And a few of the things you see here kind of made their way onto islands, which when you look at the islands now, like look completely different. But we picked and we did some picking and choosing of things we like. Again, things that stuck with us after this concept phase.
Yeah, this island definitely has a completely different vibe, but I really like the besides the Greek Roman architecture, also like that it's so rounded and it feels like the spiraling stairs. It feels very natural as well, like they built
Yeah.
with the island.
Yeah, again, these layouts are completely artist driven. So it's the like I as a director and our game designers who were like then had to find ways to traverse these places and ways to make them interesting to interact with, and also find gameplay purposes for these places. That was always kind of a second step. Maybe there was a rough idea, but when it comes to these layouts, the first people who get to suggest how these places look are the artists, and they really went all out on making these places look like they have been there for a couple of 100 years. Like we really wanted to like one of our design goals was to make this look as little as possible like it's constructed through um, like a asset library, a graphic objects library.
Zooming you in again.
Yeah, again, so a completely different approach to what an island could be. You can expect some really fancy bending of the concept of what an island is during the game. Again, this one is another one of those things that did not make it into the game, but you can see like an island doesn't have to be uh, a nature-based landmass. It can be just a big building peeking out of the ocean.
And just looking at this also makes my imagination go wild. What people living there might be like, and what society might be like here.
Yeah. Again, this is just the stuff that now is in our drawer files, and where a lot of ideas we would love to explore further, maybe in other media or something. There's a lot of potential. Yes.
Absolutely. Lots more minutes of
Yes,
islands.
there's plenty of more hours, I say, hours of islands.
Oh, here we have another island. Oh.
Yeah, this one looks like a really small island because it's so compact. But when you look at the way the wall is opening, and you can see that all these tiny scribbles are supposed to be buildings. So this is actually just a huge tower with like a huge air purifier on top, and also some places you can dive into, go into caves you go into with boats. Again, not in that shape in the game, but something similar is.
Time Freeze Island.
Yeah, Time Freeze Island. I picked this one. I mean, just it's of course another layout. You can see also the routes the players would have to take. These routes would then be then when the level designers come, they would be made more interesting with like tiny branches and dead ends and jumping sequences, and maybe put an elevator here instead of stairs, stuff like this to generate play interest. And also they would place puzzles as obstacles, but you can see the overall idea the artists had of where you can go and what your route through the islands would be. And it's called Time Freeze Island. I'm not going to say what the gameplay idea is behind, but this illustrates that we're also always thinking of a gameplay purpose for each island. And the purpose of this
Oh,
island was something like freezing time something something. I'm not going to into any more specifics.
don't
Yeah.
know with the name Time Freeze Island why you would insinuate that time freezing might be something on this island. Really don't know. That's a strange idea.
Yeah, I'm just a really big jump. Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand.
So let's just jump right to the next image.
Yeah. So and once we kind of like settled on an overall layout idea, which would never be final, it was just a starting point, right? We would start doing concepts for individual objects and pieces on these very islands. And you will see in this slide, this is some sort of growth based on the fungus the spores through the air and the fungus we have. And you will see now the next few sketches are just detailed studies of objects which we use to like fill the islands with interesting places.
Oh
And
yeah, we
animals.
know
Yes.
those. The
Yeah.
seagulls.
Also, animals are usually also custom designed for each locations, except for the seagulls. These are basically the flying rats of our universe, and they wherever there's a sky, there's seagulls in it. Yeah, some chickens. Very fluffy chickens. You will notice that all the animals in Minute of Islands are they also have their own design. We did not try to like go full on fantasy. It's more like an alternative evolution or alternative breeding sort of situation. So the chickens are really fluffy, but we did not like do like chickens with crocodile faces or something, or dragons. But we hope you will appreciate all the tiny variations we gave our creatures from nature.
Julia in the YouTube chat said those mushrooms look so stylish. And yeah, I agree. I looking at the image, I thought like, yeah, I would kind of like having one of those that were like hollow inside and just like a web outside. Having one of those as a lamp would
Yes.
probably look very nice.
Yeah, especially under a microscope, or if you're in like um if it's good photography or something, like mushroom like growing mushrooms have so interesting shapes and also colors. And that was really inspiring to us. There's also a cool Studio Ghibli anime called Noisikae. I'm probably pronouncing that horribly wrong. Um, which also like deals with mushroom growth in civilizations. Was like a very big inspiration for us. Yeah, studies of buildings. You can now just do a few steps.
Mm.
Studies of
S-
locations.
and
We
seagulls
always
again.
yeah, seagulls. And this is like one of those examples where that also clicked with us. It's this combination of this almost like Nordic and also Nautic shore town romanticism, lighthouses, fishing huts, stuff like this, combined with the post-apocalyptic vibe of abandoned places and the eerie and strange shape language of the giant technology. This is something that really stuck with us.
A booth at a market.
Yes. Um, I picked this image from our archive just to show the like how much studies and intricacies there were to really learn how the architecture works. We of course looked at hundreds and hundreds of reference photos um, uh, of older times, fairly non-specific. We're not having any specific time this story is playing, but nostalgia and an overall antique feeling was really important to us. So there was a lot of studies of constructions and products and architecture and machines and vehicles and uh, gardens and harbors and ships and all these things, so that our artists are like equipped to create their own spaces.
Oh yeah, machinery. You just talked about that.
Yeah, this is now like starting to be like a smooth transition to the the design of the big island in the demo. And these are studies our artists did of the cooking equipment which is used to make wine and jam based on the sea berries growing on that island.
Oh yeah, players who already went through the demo might recognize some elements from these images.
Yes. Um, these they almost look like the very objects that are in the island environment. But these are also mainly studies just to get the shape language and the machines and things like it uh, into the mind space of the artists. The actual assets look completely different since again we're not drawing assets and then kind of like sticking them into environments. Everything is drawn in one go, but these studies of course help us make decisions about what we want to have in each environment, and also they're a really good design practice um, for the artists.
Julia in the YouTube chat just said, I thought they were making moonshine. Um,
Well,
the
it's not
machines could
strictly
probably be used for that.
it's not especially legal or regulated. So the alcoholic beverages Mo's uncle makes, I don't know how high the percentage is.
Well, the
So
uncle is
that
all alone on that island, right? So, gotta
yes.
spend time somehow.
Okay, yeah. So here's a screenshot from an earlier from a live demo we had on the convention circuit. Once when still people were going to conventions like the PAX, for example. And this is just one of the examples, for example, of an interior, artist-driven interior on the surface. And you can see there's a lot of objects in there, and there's like quirky intersecting architecture, and a lot of really tiny stories, like for example the dartboard in the center of the frame, which has been completely missed by any dart thrown at it.
I was about to comment that it looks almost like after I play darts. So
And also the collectibles being mounted over the door and tiny image frames and the the uh, the heap of unwashed cups and dishes and empty bottles, and these places are lived in, right? So they belong to people, and these people are spending a lot of time there, and the last remaining people on these islands, they have a lot of time on their hands, which also is weirdly um, appropriate for example, how I feel for since we were working in home office for now a year. Um, so this is basically how my apartment looks when I'm not cleaning it up for streaming.
let's jump to the next island real quick.
Yeah. Okay. So this is like a super technical planning drawing, right? Um, Once we have the layout down, we then kind of like need to really nail down what kind of like uh the what actually like the real layout of the island will be, like the actual thing players will be able to walk through, informing also what kind of the illustrations we need to make. And what you're seeing here is you can see all these boxes, and some of them are already filled with a sketch. Others are just filled with like a super rough idea, just um, and all of these boxes represent individual Photoshop files. So if you ever work with Photoshop or something like this, you will know that Photoshop at a certain point, when the image you're drawing in reaches a certain size, just says screw it. Just no, that's as big as I'm going to make it, and sometimes you aren't able to save the files anymore if they go too big, get too big, or just any sort of process in it, like saving, just takes hours because these are these huge, sometimes that we have Photoshop files that are over like 2 gigabytes big or something, or 3 gigabytes sometimes. So what we needed to do in order to even like have these giant illustrations of the islands we are able to play in, we needed to cut them up into separate Photoshop files that are small enough to even work in, which is quite a logistical challenge, because when we would then have the illustrations, when import them into Unity and put them next to each other, they need to be seamless. They need to be absolutely seamless. So what we had to manage was like this collection of Photoshop files per island, and also, and whenever artists are doing updates and things like that, we also have to make sure that they are tiling, that they are, when you put them next to each other, that there's no border, there's no edge, there's no weird empty space that looks like there is a border, right? Because there's obviously a tendency, if you have like an image, that you're filling it and you're not really drawing up to the edges. So this was like a super big challenge for our artists to have illustrations and separating them into different illustration files. And when you now visit the island, there's literally no way, like no way, not even a hint of telling where one illustration ends and the other one starts.
It sounds like quite an intense game of puzzle.
Yes, it is. Also, you have to also think that these are not backgrounds; these are environments where Mo can walk through and walk in. So there's a lot of layers of things that need to be in front of the character and behind the character, and sometimes we have animation objects that have also layers on top and things like it. It was quite the kind of like hill to climb, pun intended, basically.
Yeah, Julia in the chat says, I know that problem in Photoshop, and I think a lot of people who have worked in Photoshop can probably sympathize with your artists a
Yes,
lot right
yes,
now.
yes.
So let's go to the next image and forget all
Hmm.
about giant Photoshop files that make it
Yeah,
impossible to work.
yeah. Okay, this is now a cropped section of another island sketch. When you can you do me a favor and zoom in onto the blue things that are kind of like ghosts
Oop.
behind the line work? Closer, closer, just a bit more. Yeah, thank you. This is just a sneak peek of what the artists are then getting from the game designers, right? So the artists kind of like finalize the overall all island layout, and then our game designers are translating this into pathways and puzzle sections and interactive spots and climbing sections and jumping sections, and then they are in Unity. They are making these they're making these designs, and then we have, thanks to our talented devs, we have a really cool exporting process that is basically printing these. You can see like the white crosses on these blue elements. They are printing these sort of like reference skeletons or scaffolding of islands out for these artists, which then the artists can draw on top of. So that's the process of how we get to these artist-driven but still tightly interactive environments and playing spaces.
And even this is quite a big area. If you look at all the blue, that's also quite a journey up this mountain here.
Yes.
Oh, this is a very tiny image, right?
Yeah. Okay. So this is one part of one of the islands you get to explore in the demo. Um, and this is basically it in a zoomed out fashion. What we're currently looking at is several Photoshop files, zoomed out, glued together so that we even get this overall image of an island. And you see, I just arbitrarily did cut it off on the right side, because if we have to fit the full island into the frame, there it would just be visual noise. Like, we had to zoom out that much. But if you played the demo, you probably noticed that on top there's the section with the roller coaster ride with the let's call it theme park, and of course on the left there's the pier. This is where most boat starts, and in the bottom right there is these buildings with these wooden buildings is the area where the marmalade is made, which we saw on one of the detailed concepts a few slides earlier.
Which may
And
or
what
may not be moonshine.
Yes. And further to the right, which is like cut off, this is like the section where all the architecture is, and leading up to this one air purifier we see there in the gap between the two mountains, basically, where the encounter with the uncle is. So yeah, and this is just for reference. This is just a screenshot from the demo. This is the roller coaster thing, and so this is how it looks in the game. And on the next slide, you can see how this relates in size to what we actually built.
That's quite impressive, actually, because the screen seems very small, located on
Yeah,
this huge island.
yeah. It's to be honest, this island is one of the bigger ones, but this is like the overall kind of thing you can expect from the surface world. The underground world is like a completely different beast, which you will have noticed by now if you played the demo. But this is how we deal with the islands. Just to recap, there's going to be a theme and and maybe like a play idea. Then the artists do a rough layout, decide on a few cool places and a cool overall shape and material, then the game designers use this to create an actual map of the island. Then this map is used is then refined using like puzzles and pathways and platforming and climbing sequences, which then get exported into reference sheets for the artists, so they can then draw the actual island on top of that reference skeleton sort of thing. Yeah, that's the process.
Easy, right?
Easy peasy, easy peasy. It takes no time at all.
Yeah. Definitely. And I
Yeah,
think this is our last
and
image.
yes, and this is just the exit image. So we are at the end of the presentation.
The presentation. Does the audience have questions?
Yeah, sure.
It
Just
it
go.
reminds me of like saying we reached the end of the presentation. Reminds me of school and university when in the end you would have told your friends like, "Can you please ask me a question so the teacher knows that you listened?" So yeah, if the chat has any questions for real, uh, please just let us know. We are here to answer them, but we will not stay forever, of course, here because we've been talking to
Do
you
it
for quite some
stream
time now.
forever.
Forever, never leave.
Forever.
Yeah, we wouldn't be doing the game justice if we stayed here for hours and hours when it's called Minute of Islands, right? So
Yes.
we have to leave at some point.
Sure.
But if you lay in bed tonight or take a shower this morning and suddenly remember a question, then don't fret. You can still get in touch. If you look on our website, that is also linked on our Steam page and in the YouTube description for Minute of Islands, you can find our social media and our Discord server, so you can always get in touch and still ask us lots of questions.
Yeah.
And if you play the demo now after watching this, of course, also, if there are any questions come up, let us know. If you find any bugs, I heard that these mysterious errors might exist out there in the world. It's also very helpful for us if you let us know on Steam. We have a
Yeah.
forum where you can let us know, and you can also write lots of praise in there if you would like to. And
Cool.
just a small reminder, as I said, we have a demo live right now. It's live for the Steam Festival
Yeah.
that's taking place this weekend until Monday. So it's limited, and after that you won't have to wait super long because Minute of Islands is coming out on March 18. So definitely check that out. We have a question about availability for next
Hey,
gen.
Alexander.
Yes, it will run on next gen consoles as well.
Yeah, it's we already got confirmation for the compatibility. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the word.
So you can check it out on PC, on Mac, on Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch. So I think there's something in there for everyone. And you can already
I
wishlist it.
personally, yeah, I personally will definitely be a Switch person with this one, because it's a very like, even though it has a lot of like challenging themes and images and stuff like this, it's kind of a cozy game. So I will be playing it on Switch, definitely.
Another technical question, kind of from Scammy 4K 120 FPS RTX. Not sure we
Okay.
need ray tracing.
Yes, no, there's no ray tracing, but I think it's 4K. But please don't nail me down on this because this is actually a very technical question, and I'm not the right person to ask this.
Yeah, as a game director, you organize everything, which also I guess comes with the benefit of having people to go to and ask like, do we support 4K 120 FPS? Huh? So if you want to make 100% sure, Scamit, feel free to contact us on Discord or Twitter or Facebook, and we will definitely get that information to you.
Yeah, but
And
no ray tracing. I can just.
yeah, that we can promise.
But we can also promise that the PlayStation 5 version won't, like the PlayStation 4 version won't look significantly less good than
Yeah.
the PlayStation 5 version.
That absolutely. Okay, Scammy just wrote no, just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just wanted to make sure. Yeah. So March 18th, mark it in your calendar, and the game and the digital art book and the soundtrack will all drop at the same time, and you can enjoy it.
Cool.
Oh, we got another comment on Steam by Oop Oop. I'm very sorry if I butchered that. It looks amazing. Thank you so much. Glad to hear you're enjoying
Thanks.
Minute of Island so far.
And maybe it's whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop. Some cheers. Yep. Okay. Then, as I said, if there's any further questions, you know where to find us. And we wish you a nice evening, nice afternoon, nice morning, nice good night, whatever it is for you right now. What about the price? You actually caught me off guard there because my head was just like, yes, what about the price? It would be a shame if you forgot the price just now. So I have to get back to you on that. I'm so sorry. But we can promise it will be priced reasonably. Like, we're no
Yes.
monsters, and we want people to play the game, of course.
Yeah, I was just looking at the Steam page, hoping it's already mentioned there or something.
Yeah, it will be on the Steam page, of course, as soon as the game goes live, so you can definitely check out then. I'm very sorry. It's evening for me here, so my brain just decided that no, it's over now.
But brain says no.
Yeah, brain says no. Photoshop, the file is too big. No,
Says no. Yeah.
it just says no.
Yeah. I would also really like to thank everybody who is now joining us for this bit of story time, and also the people who were there yesterday. Also, I noticed people who actually just watched both streams, which is quite an honor. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, and then that's it for the stream. We will leave you with one more run through of the trailer, and see you on March 18th.
You are staying right here, on these forsaken rocks you call a home. You are alone in this. You always were.
Minute of Islands. Available on March 18th.